Welcome to Origins and Outcomes. My name is Andrew Wooster. Today's book is William Burroughs' Naked Lunch. I discovered Naked Lunch through a girl. In my early 20s, I worked at a video store back when there were still video stores around. And the really cool part about it was a small enough place that you really got to know some regular customers. And this girl is one of them. She came in 2 or 3 times a week, and we started developing a friendship through that. And the interesting thing about her was she had a totally different tenor of her style and her likes than I really understood at that point. She was a big horror movie fan, but not in the pop culture horror movies. It was more of the gruesomer, Hills Have Eyes, independent horror movies. She loved Tarantino and all those kind of movies as well. And one day she rented a movie called Naked Lunch. I never heard of it. It looked weird when I saw the cover of the jacket. And so we started talking about it. We started talking about William Burroughs. And from that, she engaged me enough and she intrigued me enough that I had to figure out why a girl like this would like a book like Naked Lunch, something that I never heard of before. So at that point, I went to Borders and I bought all William Burroughs books before ever reading or understanding any of his content, which is an interesting view of who I was then into a point now where I will kind of jump in all in on something. So I read about half of William Burroughs' Naked Lunch, and I had no idea what was going on. It didn't make any sense to me at all. And I was kind of ashamed because I was like, am I not intellectually getting something that this girl who's intriguing me is? So I really wanted to do that. And I went back and I talked to her about it later on. She came in, as I said, she's usually there 3 or 4 times a week. And we talked about it. And it really, her explanation was like, that's fine. You don't understand it. There's just enjoyment in the read, that there's humor in the read, that there's different interesting parts in it. And the story doesn't necessarily have to be fluent, doesn't have to connect. And you don't necessarily have to get the overall point to enjoy parts of the novel. And that was a totally different way of looking at books or life for me. So I went back and I read it and I got what she was saying. It still wasn't my favorite book. I don't think I ever even finished it, but I understood that point of view, and that really expanded me. She also got me into Lou Reed and the Velvet Underground and all these different things. And it was a time in my life where I realized I had met girls that were intellectually different than me, that had different points of view, but never as far as books are concerned. And never really as movies or music concerned. She was really one of the tipping points of coming from a really secluded niche of a world into realizing other stuff out there. And actually not just realizing that, but go seeking those things as well and being engaged by those people. And she was certainly the start of that. And she led me to read Naked Lunch by William Burroughs. And I tried to read some of his other books. I really couldn't get through, more than 20 pages. I understood the interest of it and I understood the humor of it, but I still realized that I enjoy a structure and I enjoy more of a story to a books. Maybe I should go back to it now. Maybe I'll understand it now, all this time later. But that's the story of Naked Lunch and Williams Burroughs and how I discovered it and why I read it and what became of the knowledge after I did that.